The planet stretched endlessly beneath the small research shuttle, its surface glowing faintly with colors that humans could barely comprehend. Trees with translucent leaves swayed gently in a wind that smelled metallic, carrying hints of something wild and ancient. The human explorer, Kale, adjusted his visor and stepped carefully onto the soft, spongy ground. His mission was simple, at least in theory: catalog the local flora and fauna, map the terrain, and report back. But as he descended further into the dense forest, he realized that this planet was far from ordinary. Every step Kale took seemed to echo in the silence around him. There were no birds, no insects, not even the rustle of small animals. The only sound was the soft crunch of his boots against the alien moss. Yet despite the quiet, he felt as though the forest was watching him. Shadows shifted unnaturally and glowing plants turned slightly toward him, as if acknowledging his presence. He reminded himself that humans were trained for exploration, for first contact situations, and that nothing here should be dangerous. Still, his instincts hummed with caution. He rounded a bend in the thick undergrowth and froze. There, standing perfectly still among the glowing ferns, was a creature unlike anything he had seen. At first glance, she looked like a girl. Her skin shimmered faintly, like sunlight on water, marked with delicate bioluminescent patterns that pulsed softly in the dim light. Her eyes were enormous, dark, and reflective, almost as if they were windows into another world. She held herself carefully with the same poise as a predator, yet there was a hesitation in her stance. Kale's heart raced. He had prepared for alien encounters, but nothing in his training prepared him for this. The moment she noticed him, she did not run. She paused, her head tilting slightly, her gaze fixing on him. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, she inhaled. Her pupils widened. Kale noticed the tiniest tremor in her hands, a hesitation that told him this was no ordinary alien curiosity. Then in a voice so soft he almost doubted it, she whispered, "You were—" Kale blinked. "I'm Kale," he said carefully, holding his hands open to show he meant no harm. "I come in peace." The alien girl's expression shifted, a mixture of caution, wonder, and something he couldn't identify. She repeated the words, this time a little clearer, though still broken. "You were like—" Her gaze seemed to pierce him, as though she were searching for something he couldn't see. For several long moments, neither moved. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. Then almost imperceptibly she stepped back, disappearing partially behind the ferns. Kale took a cautious step forward. "I don't understand," he said. "Like what?" The alien girl didn't answer. Instead, she turned and darted through the trees, moving with a speed and grace that Kale could hardly follow. Despite himself, he ran after her, his boots barely making a sound on the moss. She led him deeper into the forest, past glowing flowers that responded to their presence with gentle pulses of light, past strange animals that watched silently from the shadows. Every now and then she would stop and inhale, whispering the same fragmented words. Hours passed, though Kale had no way of knowing. Eventually, they reached a clearing unlike any place he had seen. Towering structures, old and covered with vines, rose like the bones of a lost civilization. The alien girl stopped at the edge of the clearing and looked back at him. Her eyes, wide and luminous, held a question. Kale approached slowly, taking in the ruins. He realized these structures were not natural. They had been built, carefully and deliberately, though their purpose was lost to time. He knelt to examine a carving on a stone wall. Strange symbols, intertwined with images of humans and aliens, told a story he could not fully interpret. The alien girl watched silently, her gaze intense. Kale looked at her, then back at the carvings. "You know these people?" he asked. She hesitated, then nodded slightly. "Long ago," she said. Her words were clipped, difficult to understand, but they carried weight. Kale felt a shiver run down his spine. She seemed to be saying that humans had been here before, humans like him, perhaps ancestors of his species. Over the next few hours, Kale and the alien girl explored the ruins together. She led him through corridors where light bent strangely, where the walls pulsed faintly as though alive. She pointed to markings, touched glowing stones, and occasionally inhaled his scent, whispering fragments of words he could not yet understand. Slowly, Kyle realized she was not just curious. She was recognizing something within him, something familiar that transcended time. As night fell, the forest came alive in ways Kale had not expected. Glowing vines lit up like lanterns, and creatures that had been hiding emerged, curious but cautious. The alien girl remained close, always between him and the unknown threats, guiding him with her silent gestures. Kale marveled at her intelligence, her instincts, and her bravery. Despite her small frame, she moved with authority and grace, commanding the forest in ways he could not. They reached a natural spring at the heart of the clearing. The water shimmered with bioluminescent life, and Kale knelt to drink. The alien girl watched, her gaze almost reverent. He noticed then that her posture relaxed slightly, that the tension he had sensed all day was easing. Perhaps she was beginning to trust him. Suddenly a sound broke the quiet, a low growling noise that echoed through the trees. Kale turned just in time to see a predator, a massive creature with translucent skin and multiple limbs emerge from the shadows. The alien girl reacted instantly, darting toward him and pulling him back behind a large stone. She hissed softly, a warning, and Kale understood immediately. Whatever this creature was, it was dangerous. Kale reached for his scanner, activating a small device that emitted a high-pitched sound. The predator recoiled, confused by the frequency, giving him a moment to act. He realized the alien girl was not just leading him. She was protecting him, relying on instincts and knowledge he could not match. Together, they moved carefully, weaving through the trees, using the shadows and the terrain to stay safe. After what felt like hours, the predator disappeared into the darkness. Both Kale and the alien girl paused, catching their breath. She looked at him, and for the first time he saw something that resembled awe or perhaps relief. Her whisper came again, soft but clear this time. "You were like them." Kyle felt a chill. He realized that she was speaking of humans who had come long before him, humans who had left a mark on this world, humans she somehow remembered or recognized. He didn't know if it was memory, instinct, or something beyond understanding. All he knew was that this small, fragile creature had paused at the mere scent of his presence, and that something deep within her had responded. Night fully descended, painting the forest in shades of blue and green. Kale set up a small light, careful not to startle the alien girl. She stayed close, her movements cautious but deliberate. He decided that sleep was necessary, but he could not rest fully. His mind raced with questions. Who were these humans? Why did she recognize them? What did it mean for the relationship between their species? As he drifted into a light, uneasy sleep, Kale felt a presence near him. The alien girl had come closer, sitting silently beside him, her glowing markings casting soft light on the forest floor. She did not speak, but her eyes never left his face. It was as if she were studying him, trying to understand what made him human, what connected him to the past. In the depths of sleep, Kyle dreamed of the ruins, of humans moving among the alien landscape centuries ago. He saw their courage, their curiosity, and their compassion, the very traits that had apparently left a mark on this world and on the alien girl herself. When he awoke, the forest was still, the alien girl watching him with the same intense curiosity. He knew then that this was just the beginning. The planet held secrets that went beyond biology, beyond exploration. It held history, memory, and a connection between species that was older than any record humans had kept. And at the center of it all was the alien girl, her recognition of him a key to mysteries he had yet to unravel. He stood, brushing moss from his jacket, and looked at her. She inhaled again, the faint glow of her markings pulsing faster. Then she whispered clearly this time, "You were—" Kale met her gaze, understanding that the words were not an end but a beginning. Something had awakened in her, something tied to his humanity, and he was determined to discover what it meant. The forest was quiet once more, but the tension lingered, a promise of revelations, challenges, and discoveries yet to come. Kale felt a thrill of excitement. For the first time in his career, exploration was personal. It was more than a mission. It was a journey into history, memory, and the very essence of what it meant to be human. And somewhere deep in the forest, the alien girl's whisper carried on the wind. "You were like them." Kale smiled faintly. He didn't know what it meant yet, but he was ready to find out. Kale woke to the soft glow of the forest, the alien girl still sitting near him. She did not move, her luminous eyes fixed on him with a curiosity that felt almost sacred. He stretched, careful not to startle her, and noticed how the air around them shimmered faintly with energy, as though the planet itself were alive and watching. Despite the strange landscape and unknown dangers, Kale felt an unusual calm. He knew that whatever connection the alien girl felt to him, it was deep and important. She rose slowly and began to lead him deeper into the forest. Cale followed, careful to mirror her movements, learning to anticipate the subtle gestures that warned of danger or pointed the way. As they moved, the alien girl occasionally inhaled his scent, each time whispering fragments of words he could not understand. With every pause, Cale's sense of wonder grew. There was a history here that transcended time, a bond between humans and her people that he had only begun to comprehend. After a while, they arrived at a hidden valley, surrounded by towering cliffs that glowed faintly with bioluminescent moss. In the center lay a lake that reflected the strange colors of the forest, as though it were a mirror to another world. The alien girl approached the edge, dipping her hands into the water, sending ripples that shimmered like liquid light. Cale knelt beside her, cautious and respectful. The valley seemed alive with memories. As Cale studied the shimmering surface of the water, he noticed faint images appearing, ghostly figures moving as though in a story long forgotten. Humans, much like himself, were interacting with alien beings, helping them, protecting them. The alien girl's people were present, learning, observing, and growing. Cale realized then that she was witnessing the history of her ancestors, preserved in some way by the planet itself. The alien girl turned to him, her eyes wide with recognition and wonder. She spoke softly, words more complete than before. "You were like them. You help." Cale nodded slowly, understanding the truth in her words. He was not just an explorer. He was a link, a continuation of the courage, compassion, and ingenuity that humans had shown long ago. Suddenly, a rustle from the edge of the valley drew their attention. A group of creatures, larger and more menacing than anything Cale had seen before, emerged from the shadows. They moved with speed and precision, circling the valley. Cale instinctively stepped in front of the alien girl. She did not resist. Instead, she stood beside him, her posture tense but confident. They were not alone in this place, and Cale knew that their survival depended on both his quick thinking and the girl's instincts. Cale quickly scanned the creatures, noting their multiple limbs and translucent skin. They were intelligent but not invincible. Using his tools, he activated a small device that emitted a high-frequency sound, designed to confuse alien predators. The creatures recoiled, giving them a moment to act. Cale looked at the alien girl, and for the first time she spoke clearly in their shared gestures, pointing toward a narrow path that led up the cliffs. Without hesitation, they moved together, weaving through the terrain, the creatures following closely behind. Reaching a ledge, Cale realized the path led to an ancient structure partially carved into the cliffside. The alien girl guided him inside, where the air was cool and still. Faint light emanated from crystalline formations embedded in the walls. The interior was filled with carvings and symbols that seemed to tell a story. Humans and aliens working together, protecting the forest, and preserving knowledge. Cale's heart raced. He had stumbled upon a history that had been hidden for centuries, preserved not in books or databases, but in the living memory of a planet and its people. The alien girl moved toward one particular carving, her fingers tracing the etched lines. She whispered, "They saved us, you help." Like them. Cale stepped closer, studying the image. It showed a human figure standing between a group of alien beings and a dangerous predator, much like the one they had just faced. His pulse quickened as he realized that history was repeating itself, that he was walking in the footsteps of humans long gone, and that the alien girl recognized the pattern. For hours they explored the structure, discovering hidden chambers filled with artifacts, tools, and devices far beyond Cale's initial understanding. The alien girl showed him how to activate some of the mechanisms. One device projected holographic scenes of past interactions between humans and her people, each scene emphasizing cooperation, courage, and ingenuity. Cale watched, amazed, understanding that humans had not just explored this world, they had shaped it, preserved it, and left a legacy that the alien girl's people still revered. Night fell, and the structure glowed softly from the crystals embedded in its walls. Cale and the alien girl rested in one of the chambers, the weight of discovery pressing on them. She moved closer, her eyes searching his face as if trying to understand the human in front of her. Cale realized that the bond between them had grown stronger than he could have imagined. It was not just curiosity or recognition, it was trust, respect, and something deeper, almost sacred. The next day, they continued their exploration. The alien girl led Kyle to the heart of the ruins where a large chamber opened into a cavern filled with luminous water. Above the water, a holographic projection showed the first humans arriving centuries ago, interacting with the alien girl's ancestors. Kale recognized some of the actions. They were teaching, protecting, and sharing knowledge. The alien girl watched intently, her voice soft but clear. "You were like them, you understand?" Kale felt a surge of pride and humility. Humanity had always prided itself on exploration, on courage, and on the ability to overcome the unknown. Here was proof, preserved in a living memory, that humans could inspire trust and friendship across species and generations. The alien girl's recognition was more than instinct. It was admiration for qualities that humans had always embodied. Their exploration was interrupted by a sudden tremor. The ground shook and stones fell from the ceiling. Kale grabbed the alien girl, pulling her out of the way just in time. The structure groaned and a part of the chamber collapsed. Dust filled the air, making it difficult to see. Kale coughed, shielding his face, and realized that the ruins, despite their age, were still fragile. The alien girl looked at him with concern, her hands touching his arm in a gesture of reassurance. Once the dust settled, Kale and the alien girl stepped outside into the fading light. The forest seemed calmer, almost as if it were acknowledging their survival. The creatures that had threatened them earlier had disappeared. Kale realized that the planet itself was responding to their actions, recognizing their intent, and perhaps even approving of their courage. Over the next few days, Kale and the alien girl continued to explore, learning from each other. He taught her some basic human concepts, simple words and gestures. She, in turn, showed him the ways of her people, the natural signals of the forest and the secrets of survival in this strange world. Each day their bond grew stronger and the alien girl's whispers became more coherent. She would say, "You help, like them," and Kale would nod, understanding the meaning more fully each time. One evening, as the sun set and painted the forest in shades of orange and green, the alien girl led Kyle to a high cliff overlooking the valley. The view was breathtaking, the landscape alive with light and color. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting the glow of the setting sun, and spoke clearly for the first time. "Humans, you brave, help, always." Kale felt a lump in his throat. The recognition, the respect, and the trust in her voice were more rewarding than any discovery he had made in his career. Kale realized that his mission had changed. He was no longer just an explorer or a researcher. He was a bridge between species, a living connection to a history that had been forgotten but not lost. The alien girl had taught him more than any database or textbook could. She had shown him the value of courage, trust, and compassion, and had reminded him why humanity was capable of greatness. As the stars appeared in the sky, Kale and the alien girl sat side by side, watching the forest shimmer under the light of distant suns. He knew that he would leave this planet one day, but the bond he had formed and the legacy he had discovered would remain with him forever. The alien girl leaned slightly toward him, whispering once more, "You were like them." Kale smiled, understanding at last the depth of her words. Humans were not just explorers. They were guardians, friends, and catalysts for hope in the universe. And here, on this distant planet, he had witnessed proof that the courage and compassion of humanity could transcend time, species, and worlds. The forest whispered around them, alive with memory, and Kale felt a sense of awe that he would carry for the rest of his life. The alien girl's eyes glowed softly, filled with trust and recognition. He knew then that this was only the beginning of humanity's story in the stars, and that wherever humans went, they could leave a mark not only on worlds but on hearts, minds, and memories that would endure for generations. Together, they watched the stars, silent and connected, two beings from different worlds bound by trust, courage, and the timeless recognition of humanity's potential.